eating snacks.
What's going on, everybody? We're here for another episode of The Finisher. As you can see, things are a little different this time around. Unfortunately, Joke's under the weather, so we wish him to get back on this feed as quick as possible. So for the time being, I will be your host, Mr. Sin, aka, all feelings, no facts, along with Trinidad G, the undisputed villain. Are you ready to talk a little bit about some wrestling, Marcus?
Oh, I'm ready. My hands are already on the mat. Let's go.
He's ready to go. Okay, so y'all know how this goes. We got two topics, and then we have a third one we're going to do just for Patreon. So I got one to kick us off with. Recently, this past Monday, during Monday Night Raw, they put out a tweet or whatever out into the socials stating that Raw will be now moved back to 2 hours instead of 3. And the internet kind seems to be divided on how they feel about it. So I want to talk about, do we think, is this a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Possibly, maybe why it's going from 3 hours to 2 hours. Let me just add this too. They didn't say this during Raw. Like, it just kind of like came out while Raw was already on, which was, I don't know why they didn't announce that on the show, since they did it while it was on. But besides that, what are your just initial thoughts on this time shift?
I think for those who are getting back into wrestling, it's going to feel odd. But as someone who's been watching for a while, they're just going back to the original format of 2 hours. So
that's what I was going to ask. How long has it been 3 hours?
It's been a few years. It's been 3 hours.
Okay.
But I would say the 3 hour segments didn't really start until they went to the USA Network, and they were on that network for a good period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like since it's Raw that's getting the hour downshift and going back to their normal 2 hours, I feel like this is a play because in the next few months, like, Raw won't be on the USA Network anyway. It will be on Netflix. So they're kind of getting people prepared for that shift of, hey, this show will no longer be on this network in the future. So we're downshifting it here and we're upshifting it on SmackDown. So that way you're now going to get the most out of SmackDown as far as production. And as we get closer to that January 2025 mark, that's when we'll see how they're going to do Raw live showing on Netflix, or if it's going to be pre-recorded and then just put on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see once we get closer to that time frame on what that scheduling is going to be like. I think it's not a big deal right now as far as like setting up for the future, but I can see why some people are upset that it's no longer 3 hours currently, because both the entire company is very big and there's a lot of talent, and when you downshift in time, that means not everyone's going to get their spot to speak or to wrestle or even just to be shown like off screen, on screen.
Yeah. I was thinking a lot about this today. Initially, I wasn't happy with them going to 2 hours, and that's mainly because a lot of the people that I champion in the WWE just happen to be on Raw right now after the draft last year. So, yes, dropping it down means I'm not going to be able to see people as much as I would like, but I want people to remember, there's a lot of people out there who probably don't watch NXT. And one thing I love they do with NXT is some people who you may think may not be getting shine or whatever on the shows, they send them down to NXT to help push the talent that's down there. And what's kind of cool is they get like a resurgence by going down there, because they don't get those main event type of people and stuff like that on their show. So it's a great balance between the two. Like, Leech had been down there cleaning house, and now she's come back up to SmackDown hotter than ever. So remember, if you may not be seeing them on Raw or SmackDown, 9 times out of 10, they're working the house show circuit or they just be down at NXT helping out, doing a spot down there for a month or something like that, which is pretty cool. And also, I think people need to think about one. Smack. Would I be correct in saying that Raw has been busting SmackDown's ass for the past year, pretty much? Between
I wouldn't say that. I think the biggest,
Cody started
as
off,
if you're talking if you're talking about as far as this calendar year,
yes, and I
then
said just this year because we started.
because you got to
Cody
remember
was-
this calendar year ended after WrestleMania. Forgot the pay-per-view name, but that paper. No, after WrestleMania, it's like WrestleMania Backlash.
Backlash, yes, Backlash.
Yeah. So that's when, all right, the new season starts.
Okay, well, I'm talking January to right now. So leading into WrestleMania and everything post to where we're at now. I
wouldn't
Raw,
say it was a Raw. I think SmackDown has been the staple show for a good couple of years. Only because that the storylines on Raw weren't. I would say the storylines on Raw are all not primarily Bloodline focus, but it was they had no Bloodline was on Raw for a period of time before they went to SmackDown. Yeah, see, this is before you came back.
Yeah, I don't have no knowledge of all that. I'm talking strictly 2024.
Yeah, and which is going in like because you're saying from January till now. Because you got to remember, January there's still the Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
all of that stuff. All that is still SmackDown.
Yeah,
that whole gap is SmackDown, and then after we see the fallout. Now, all right, they're both kind of even
but
in my
Raw.
sense.
Cody was Raw at that point, and yeah, he was tied into the Bloodline, him and Seth and all that kind of stuff. So they both, I think, were kind of on even playing field because you said the Judgment Day doing their thing. But I think past all that with CM Punk and Drew, Rhea and Damian and the
yeah, but all this is the fallout.
Right.
Like that's why I said it's kind of an even kill, and like both Raw and SmackDown have their superstars, their top guys and gals, and now we're seeing each show elevate themselves to a better prominent position. Now there was a period of time where Raw was always the dominant brand, and then SmackDown was like the secondary brand, and then SmackDown took off, and in my opinion became the more popular brand.
Well, yeah, Roman and them was over there, so you know, like.
Well, this is before Roman. This is predating Roman, and every time there's a big shift in like a major star, that's when those brands truly shine. So, beginning of SmackDown, like you had Triple H, Stone Cold, Raw. SmackDown, you had like your Chris Jericho, The Undertaker, The Rock, Kurt Angle. You feel me?
Okay.
Like you had those big stars, and like now, present day, that's how it is. That's how it's feeling to me. Is you have these certain stars driving that brand, and I'll say this: Roman being on SmackDown was always going to be a thing.
Okay. But I think what they with this switching from 3 to 2 hours on Raw.
Oh, and then the drafts for this year make no sense because it is just stupid. The draft this year was stupid, like because it had no point whatsoever.
Yeah, they gotta tighten that up. They gotta tighten that up next year around. But people need to remember that some of these storylines are going to shift, and I think it'll balance out the whole 2-hour type of thing. Because after Bad Blood, there's no more Drew and Punk. This is the finale of it, so we don't have to worry about them eating up another hour, or so of time every single week. If everything goes the way that we believe it is, with Jay heading back to deal with the bloodline with everything coming up, then if he wins the Intercontinental Championship, he can. I guess they can make it so he can teeter between both, or he's going to end up going back over there somehow, which will free up time on SmackDown to kind of tighten those storylines up, so we don't have to you don't have that so much time to fill up anymore. So I think that'll help. And like I said, well, people can go back down to NXT and help out down there for a couple months till Netflix gets here. We figure out what, like you said, what time frames are we gonna do? Is it gonna be 2 hours? Is it gonna be 2 hours 30 minutes some week? Like, who knows? Like what that structure is gonna look like. But I don't think it's. I think 2-3 episodes in, people won't think about it anymore. I think they'll notice it at first because it's gonna be like, we know it's 2 hours now going into it. But I think as long as the pacing is good and the content is good, it'll be out of sight.
And also, like, a lot of people on Raw are injured.
That's true.
So by them going back to 2 hours, it's going to allow people to rest up more frequently, take time off easier, because now they don't have to rush back and then do a whole 3-hour show waiting in the back and catering, doing whatever or getting or working out in between. Like, it's going to be a positive thing. And in my mind, SmackDown should have always been 3 hours.
Okay. Now, do you think they're going to go 3 hours going forward to the end of the year with SmackDown? Because tonight we're doing this on the premiere of SmackDown.
It's
on USA,
since it's
so
the 3 hours tonight. I think going forward, I think SmackDown will be 3 hours on the USA Network going forward. Mm-hmm. Because that's where their flagship title is. That's where their quarterback is. Yeah. That, like, they've been talking about, like, this big shift and Raw's going to Netflix, NXT, and all this stuff is going to USA Network. Okay, what's the biggest way to say not so much a F you to Fox and the other networks, but it's more so, hey, this is our baby. Mm-hmm. Fox did this. All right, we already know that you know what we're about. Give this brand the 3-hour treatment. And that will allow for much more SmackDown-driven stories. That allows for more tag teams to be introduced on SmackDown, to go after the women's and men's tag team championships. So we're going to see more of that. We can get proper mid-card storylines. We can flesh out more people that could go challenge for the main title. It's going to be a positive result in the end. It's just we gotta allow Hunter and the creative team to cook and just sit back, wait, and enjoy the final product.
Do we think when they go to Netflix, there'll be maybe like 3 hours, 2.5 hours for each show going forward, or one they'll keep it around 3 and one they'll keep around 2?
My biggest concern is, like, Netflix doesn't have a live TV feature. That is my biggest thing. Like actually,
do something live not too long ago.
They did if you're talking about the New Japan, not New Japan,
New Japan. I thought Netflix did something live a few months back or something live on Netflix. Let's see, live on Netflix.
I'm talking about, like, not a pre-recorded, this is now live on Netflix, but an actual live feed. The only thing, like, I think they may have done a debate. Maybe, but I think that was Hulu.
But I think that WWE is going to be live. I think.
That's where, like, we need to wait and see what happens for this whole Netflix deal coming in January. We need more information. As, like, they're now starting to relay slowly about, like, their plans going forward. So if it is live, then I don't see a reason why they won't do 3 hours on Netflix.
As I think about it, I think they're going to probably keep it to 2. And you know why? There's no commercial breaks anymore. So you don't have to keep stopping everything for a commercial break.
But you got to remember, for the people who bought their ticket, as you know, the commercial break.
Yeah,
the commercial break doesn't stop them from wrestling. Wrestling is still happening. We just don't see it because there's a commercial break.
Right.
But Netflix, once they go Netflix, and you gotta make sure you pay for that subscription for all of you people who don't want to pay for no ads, because you're gonna get ads and you're gonna feel upset. You're like, yo,
no ads,
so for the people who don't have to watch ads, it's still going to be as if you're there live, quote unquote. So there's really no difference as far as the scheduling of said matches.
Without the ads, it's going to be interesting to see just how they do it. Because yes, there's those times and stuff like that. Like you're talking about whether you're live or between watching it live or watching it at home. So just the format will be interesting to see how they adjust and switch things up for Netflix. So I'm here for it. I'm hyped for it. All I know is I'm hyped for when they get to Netflix. Just no more cutting out the mic and the screen when the crowd gets to chanting certain things and just.
Oh yeah, all that's gone, which is why for those of you who have kids, you may want to start making those parental controls on your accounts.
Facts.
Because these WWE crowds, especially during the PLE season, that's another thing we will need to talk about. Are they still only going to do the PLEs on Peacock? Or are they going to switch that to Netflix?
I hope it's Netflix. I'm not gonna lie, I hope it's Netflix. Like you can just get away. You can just get away with a little more. Like you don't like none of the censoring. Like when you sucks and holy shit stuff like that. None of those getting cut out. None of the screen feeds being cut. Yeah, just put it all on Netflix.
That's why I said like we need more information about. All right, Raw's going to Netflix. Okay, what else is going to Netflix?
No, I wish NXT would get a tribute, but I don't think it is. I think NXT is probably going to stay.
Yeah, NXT is going to have a little stint on the USA Network for a time, or CW.
Yeah.
So I don't see that one moving super fast as of yet because that's the developmental brand and young teens. I don't know what the demographic is for the viewership on the CW right now, but. Back in my heyday, a lot of young adults watch the CW. Yeah. So it's a good play. Like, come home from school, do your work, whatever, after coming home from playing basketball. Oh, what's on for those of them that don't have Netflix and cable? All right, the CW is a public channel.
Right. So, yeah, good place for CW for right now. Not CW for NXT. All right, so that's what I have for the first topic, Marcus. So what do you have this week for us to discuss and talk about?
Okay. My topic for this week is it's not too deep, but it's how can we make the fluidity of pay-per-views move smoother and more value for your virtual buck.
What do you mean? Break it down for me.
Okay, so for WWE's case, they're PLEs. You pay a subscription to Peacock. You get to see the pre-show. It's all one place, all beautiful, tied up in a bow, right? And the matches are set. Whatever they say the matches are, that's what they are. Right. Kind of no surprises 9 times out of 10 versus like a TNA pay-per-view. All right, they give you spend X amount of money. The matches are set for the most part. No real shenanigans unless it's within the scope of the card, the individual matches on the card. Then you have something like an AEW where due to them having their live show, then recording their Rampage show, and then airing Collision, you have a time window where, this match may get thrown in. You pay your money for the pay-per-view. You're watching the pre-show on YouTube or whatever streaming service, and then is the actual pay-per-view with all of the card. And then it has X number of matches per whatever storyline. How can we make like these companies flow better for a premium live slash pay-per-view event to where we get the most bang for our buck as consumers. The talent gets to showcase their skills safely, and
you probably already know where I'm going. Go
ahead. To the time management on matches,
okay,
and the allowing what is the minimum and maximum level of creative allowed in said matches.
Okay,
like
I can't speak for TNA because, of course, I don't watch TNA, but I think WWE has found a nice little groove ever since we've seen the changes with them adding in these international shows and making the international crowds like a challenge to everybody. That's kind of really cool. I'm really liking that. The flow between the pre-show, the countdown, and the PLE, and now what they're doing with the post stuff, with the press conferences, and then they'll cut back, have somebody show up, talk at the desk with everybody. I think it all flows very, very well and more seamlessly now over the past couple months that they've been doing those on WWE. AEW, on the other hand, there's number one, Tony. It is a little messy. It is. You don't know how long until the post show starts. A lot of times, you're right. Matches get cut off. Matches will get cut short, and it's kind of visibly noticeable. Like you're watching, like what happened. Like this kind of ended abruptly, or it just feels off, and then right after that, you start seeing what's happening online. News and leaks starts coming out. So I think it's all in management. I think maybe fighting to distinct themselves from WWE, instead of just looking at their blueprint like, okay, that kind of works over there, it's flowing really well, we can copy and paste that. They just want to do their things their own way, and it's a lot more messier over there. Tony needs to step to the side, just be the money, bringing some. I don't
know, because I feel like even in the WWE camp, I still feel like there are some matches. You know what? I'll throw it out there because controversy creates cash, and I'm a controversial individual.
So you say. Go ahead.
These Bloodline rules matches are stupid.
I'll go a step further. All street fights are stupid. Not that I don't like a street fight. All they keep doing with
because an actual street fight has meaning because there are no rules in an actual street fight.
You know the match I'm talking about. It's something that it's the same match with a different name on it. Bloodline Rules is like one of those. We're doing a Chicago street fight. We're doing this type of fight. That type of fight. It's all just a no disqualification match. You just use whatever weapons you want. They need to be more creative with creating these types of matches. Yes, Bloodline Rules is. Well, it's a bloodline match, so whatever. The bloodline, if you're a member of the bloodline, you're allowed to interfere. It's
dumb. Or the tribal combat match. Stupid.
Yes, it is. Yeah, they're not being creative when it comes to creating
at least like a classic match, like a strap match. Okay, classic strap match rules. All right, there's only 3 different versions of a strap match that you can do with those rules, and you pick one of the 3, and that's what it is. You have a cage match. Okay, there's 2 sets of rules for a cage match. Only 2. It's either one with pinfalls and submissions or KOs, and then there's one where you can only win by escaping the cage.
Right.
That's it. It's that simple. Like
bloodline rules could be. All you gotta do is put some tiki torches on the post. Whoever's a bloodline member.
I'm not. You see, but then that goes into what I'm talking about as far as a production and creative point for said match. If this is like a bloodline rules match, then I don't expect the ring to be like, I know like ropes have to be a thing, but I expect a different arena.
Oh, so you want them to go like on a beach somewhere and rap?
Yes. Like if you say if it's a PLE and you say this is a Bloodlines rule match, then this match better be cinematic.
I'm about to say, then what if we did that? What if we make it a cinematic match and put them on the beach?
I'm fine with that. And you know why I'm fine with that? Because the Hardys did it first and bringing cinematic matches to the wrestling media form. Mm-hmm. And they did it. Then WWE was like, oh, this is that was pretty cool. This is all while in TNA, by the way. Before this has nothing to do with AEW. Because then AEW was like, you know what? When Matt Hardy was there, he was like, yeah, you could do this. Oh, that's cool. What did WWE do? All right, we're gonna do cinematic matches. The Bray Wyatt versus John Cena in a cinematic match. The AJ Styles versus The Undertaker in a cinematic match. Mm-hmm. These are the type of things that need to be thought about. Yes, you don't want to overdo it, but if you're hyping up, oh, this is a Bloodline rules, or this is the Tribal Combat for being the head of the table, like these sort of things need to have high level production, because if these are your top guys going for this spot and you're making this emphasis on this thing that has nothing to do with a title or any title specifically, that's when you need to like, all right, how can we from a safety creative point make this match more normal? Well, not normal, better than just, all right, it's just basically a street fight, but then we already know people are going to interfere because it's a no DQ. So how can we, besides that, how can we make this match better?
I think cinematic is one way to go. I think being creative with the matches, we run into the same type of matches. Like there's no DQ. There's ways to go and spice them up, especially depending on what's involved with the two characters and stuff like that.
Just make it look pretty. Like that's what I want it to look and feel like it means something.
Like a big Hollywood production. It's end game. Like we're finally.
Like, you got all this money for all this pyro. All back then you had all these 4D fucking visuals. And you have these 8K, 12K cameras.
Yeah, them visions, that was horrible. Most of
like put that into, all right, you change the coloring of the mat, you change the ropes, you do all of this stuff, like
increase the production value. I see what you're saying. Of these high profile matches, increase the production value on them.
Yes, like okay, a Hell in a Cell is a Hell in a Cell, no matter what. You know you're going to get bang for your buck because it's a Hell in a Cell match. Okay, Elimination Chamber, they changed the cage design now.
Match. Make the lights red or something for a Hell in a Cell match or something.
Like there are certain matches that is always going to produce and have a better creative content than others. It's just a fact. Certain matches are just instinctively better than others. And when you create a new match on the premise of a match that already has a precedent, how do you make this match different outside of just changing the name?
You gotta go with production. I think production is, if it's going to be something like a regular match, then you have to up the production value based around the match. Everything, like you said, pyros, from the lighting, the cameras, maybe different camera angles using drones or something. And we just saw that one camera angle that was pretty. There was in New Japan where they did like the whole spin around camera with the two legs. Like that was pretty cool. Yeah, just look around. That, especially on the internet, everybody says everything puts everything on the internet. You can see what people are doing creative in some of these other companies, and hey, borrow from it. You know what I mean? Like it's some creative things happening in other spaces outside of what you're seeing on like WWE and such. I think reaching out to them can help pull some people in. Hire a couple people. Like you said, you got the money for it, you know what I mean? Hire some of these people who are being
here's my idea, right? Here's my idea. I know, I said it first. If any company out there steals this idea, I want my comeuppance. Okay, I want my piece of the pie. I don't even want a piece. Just give me a couple crumbs, bro. Just all I want is a couple crumbs. But what they need to do is put people in certain points of the arena and the stands where, all right, the camera's going from this angle of the ring, that angle of the ring. You have the cameras on the ring post, whatever. It switches. The referee can from time to time, but then, like, you know, when they're outside the ring and they're going all over, bam, you switch to a point of view that's inside the crowd.
That could be something. And
you're seeing it as if you're actually there. You can actually see, like, oh, this person's up against this portion of the barricade. Okay. All right, you see them run around. Like when the wrestlers that like to run around the ring, you see that from every angle. Like it's going different views from inside of it happening in real time.
So it's more so trying to see it from somebody who's actually watching it in the crowd, seeing things from their perspective, kind of thing.
Yes, I feel that would be a very interactive way going forward to get the full value out of that in-ring experience. And then, like, I know it's going to be difficult to implement, but if done
right, it could be something.
Yes, is what I'm saying.
It's done right, yeah.
That's my idea. Like, imagine during entrance,
it's not
like,
a bad one.
Like, imagine during an entrance, you see them for those big PLE events where they get all the time, and you can see those interactions outside of, you know, Stu or whoever the camera person is being right up in their face. Like, you can see it every angle. Like I feel like that would be pretty dope.
Audience cam or something like that they can call in or something like that and have a bunch of different feeds on there.
And you can do it with a drone. Like, you don't need to have a person there. Like, you can do it via drone.
I think adding a drone would be dope. I think, and just in general, to just add a new level to the matches. Catching those higher up, you know, you see them right there in the crowd, everybody going crazy when something big happens and it's flying around. Yeah, I think a drone would be. I think they should play with a drone. I think they should definitely play with a drone. If maybe for now, just at the PLEs or something like that. Like maybe to make extra to it. I think that could be a lot of fun to explore. But okay, we have to we gotta make some things happen. Gotta make some things happen here.
All right, thank you for all the people listening and watching. We are going to transition into the Patreon topic now. So if you have subscribed to Patreon, now's the time to do it, because, you know, we're shifting into the Patreon topic. Again, make sure you click that link up above if you're watching. If you're listening, make sure you go to beacons.ai/loading snacks and click that Patreon and then click subscribe.
What's good, Loading Snacks universe? Did you think that was too sweet? Well, do me a favor. Like, share, and subscribe on whatever platform you're watching us on. And also, jump on over to patreon.com/loading snacks, where you can support us in everything we do and pick the tier of your choice. Much appreciated.